All right. Yeah. Day Tripper. This tune has been a real challenge. It is just a heck of a song. Man, we've already done this video. I got a chance to listen back. Shout out to my video and audio engineer, Wes, who did a whole video already, and it just, I just couldn't live with it. There are so many things that when I listened back really carefully, just didn't quite cut it. And what I said about the tune didn't quite cut it either. So this tune is so different and like, I guess, innovative. It's just really, I don't know, I say ahead of its time a lot, but that's really like what's happening here. This is 1966 when this gets released. In 1961, just 5 years earlier, the top tunes in the charts were things like Patsy Cline's I Fall to Pieces, Ray Orbison's Crying. Man, I love those songs. I really like those a lot. But if you think about the textures, rhythms from the rhythm section, the bass lines, the sounds on the guitars, this song is just so much different. Even the tunes that were popular in 1966 are quite a bit different. When you listen to the little bit that's out there of the live recordings, the guitar is just so in your face. It's huge. It's fun to see the guitar players chatting online about what is George using and the different sounds and effects they're getting. But this has got to be something that the old cranky older folk of the time were like, oh, they've gone too far. The way when I listen to the crazy AI, whatever music's going on today, I'm just like, whatever. That's got to be what people were thinking back then when the Beatles were playing this. Like, okay, they were a little crazy at first, but now this is just off the deep end. This is crazy. It's it's really just so innovative in terms of the types of rock I think that are to come later. Now, there's a lot of other bands that are doing great rock at the time, but this is one of the bands that's doing it, and I personally think the way the Beatles do it's awesome, and this tune is just so great at that. Some of this stuff, it was pretty hard to know what Ringo was doing. I did a ton of listening, especially after we already did the video, and then I listened back, did so much more listening again, tried to really capture what he's doing, and I honestly just don't know for sure. There is luckily a video out there I can find when they did live in Japan. There's not a lot of Ringo. One thing that I was able to glean from that, of course, though, is that when he's doing one of his Ringoisms, which is to start his fill on the left, so he's got this kind of thing, he comes out of that multiple times. Oh, also in the official music video, you can see it once or twice, maybe just once, where he starts off the left, but then he crashes with the right. So I had to slow it down and think about it. What is he doing? How's he doing that? Because this rhythmic pattern is a sextuplet pattern. So you start on the left and end on the left. And I was sure that's what he was doing at first. But he doesn't crash with the left once in either of those live performances. Now, who knows? Every time he plays it live, it could be a little bit different. But the fact that he consistently crashed with the right made me go back and reevaluate. So one of the fills, I'm pretty sure, is 6 on the floor tom, and then just 5 on the high tom, and he just leaves 1 off to crash with the right. Like, who does that? Why would you do that? Why wouldn't you just play the extra note and crash? I don't know why he does that. But it's just one of those cool, like, Ringoism type things where it's just so unique. Like, who would have thought to do that? I can't think of anything else where someone plays a sextuplet pattern and leaves the very last one off, so you got a grouping of 11 instead of 12 notes going into the release. Like crazy. It's just, so, anyways, what I'm getting at is there's stuff in here that I'm just really not exactly sure of what he's doing, but I got as close as I could get. This tune, I think, really represents a bit of an evolution in Ringo's drumming. Now, those few years that the Beatles were together, it's not that long, and it's packed. It's jam-packed with all this stuff, but I still think you can see this little bit of evolution in the drumming. I think Ringo's starting to make a few more musical choices. It's not just so straightforward. This, on the surface, yes, this looks like just a straightforward rock tune. That's kind of how I've always thought of it until I really dug in deep. And then I started to find just some cool subtleties, some variations in the subtle choices he's making. The coolest part of the song is the buildup, at least for me. So the bridge solo section, whatever you want to call it, it's 12 bars long. Ringo really splits it up kind of strangely. For the rest of the band, it sounds like 2 phrases of 6. Ringo splits it up into like 4 phrases of 3 is the way I hear it. because he's doing. He starts off doing this. He does that for exactly 3 bars, and then he starts to add in a few more accents. Then he's got the hi-hat going on for 3 bars. He's still got accents happening. But then, in order to bring more of a build-up, he actually goes sort of down. He gets softer with his left hand, because he's doing just quarter notes at first. And then he kind of comes down. He doesn't do like much of a forte piano, like a crescendo like that. But the fact that he goes from these loud accents to something softer, and then he adds in the bass drum on all the eighths, and then he switches to the cymbals, it's just really, really cool how he divides it up into like 4 3-bar phrases to get through that 12-bar bridge. That's really far out to me. I honestly wonder if that was like determined, if they thought that out kind of intellectually the way I'm doing. I doubt it. Like that's what crazy people like me do after the fact when we're overanalyzing it. I tend to think that it's just really intuitive, that they just are feeling it that way. That Ringo's feeling it that way. But perhaps there was some thought that went into it, because a lot of the other stuff going on in that part is crazy too. The guitar parts are so cool. There's like 3 different lead parts, I think, in addition to some of the rhythm strumming. And one of them is to start playing on beat 2 of every bar, one note that just walks right up a scale. But they start this bridge on the dominant, on the 5 chord, which is the B, because they're playing an E, and then he just starts on a B, and then he just bum bum bum. He goes all the way up. Because it starts on the 5, it ends up being a Mixolydian scale, and it gets all the way up, and it goes nicely and just kind of resolves back into the tonic, which is just like, I didn't ever really notice that whole thing. You start to hear the vocals when they come in, and they're getting like higher and higher and higher and higher, but the guitar starts doing that first on beat 2, and then when the vocals come in, they start doing it on beat 1, and the guitar is still on 2. Like it's just incredible. Just I could geek out about it all day. Really, really cool. Ringo does this thing where he plays in the, I guess you could call it a chorus. It sounds like a pre-chorus to me, but it doesn't lead to a chorus, so maybe it's the chorus. When they start singing, "She was a day tripper," that part. In the 5th bar and 6th bar, Ringo plays 2 notes on the backbeat on beat 2, like this. That's not what he plays on the bass drum, but that's what he's doing with his snare drum. And that's very intentional. He does it exactly in the same place every time. And one of the great things about it is it's kind of like a hook with the vocal. It fits in so great with the vocals. And because of that, the rhythm of the vocals, when it gets to bars 7 and 8, I want to hear that again, and Ringo doesn't do it, and it leaves me wishing he had, like wanting for more, which in my opinion is always a great thing in music. If you hear something happening and it ends, the song ends, or whatever ends, and you are wanting more, you've achieved something magical. Too many times I think I hear bands play, and before they're done, I'm just like, okay, I've had enough. I don't need any more of this. So the fact that he's got something so simple as like 1 extra note, and it leaves me wanting more, is really quite impressive, I think. You've got some other usual Ringoisms, like he refrains from crashing. He adds the crashes on that build-up in really purposeful places. At the beginning of the build-up, he starts them out on beat 1. And that's one of the only times he kind of uses them. In the other places, like when he gets over to that pre-chorus, or at the end of the pre-chorus going into the tambourine roll, 999 drummers out of 1,000 would just crash to end it. Not Ringo. What a great, like a cool thing that he doesn't do it, and he picks his spots when he's going to add those crashes. It's so phenomenal. One last thing just to geek out about. In that build-up part, there's so much going on, like I said, with the guitars. The vocals are so cool. The drums are really intentionally doing something really awesome. Maybe for one of the only times ever in sort of Beatle lore, the bass is doing nothing of interest. Like, I don't know how that worked out. How did they come to that? But Paul's just playing quarter notes. He's just staying on the 5th the whole time, and he maybe changes up the rhythm a little bit. But other than that, it's like the bass is just really boring. Like it's almost like one of them had to do something boring to just kind of hold down the fort, because there's so much else going on. And in that case, it was Paul. He just did hardly anything on the bass to let all this other stuff happen. Amazing. I love the Beatles. I love this music. This song is just so cool. And I've learned so much more about it and discovered so many subtle things that I never really film before. So I hope you like my version. Hope you like my talking. But it's a chance for me to geek out about it because I just think it's so great. And Ringo Starr's the man. I'll catch you on the next one.